This was a normal Saturday. Our children went to school. I have two daughters in a school. And then about 9:20, the bombing started. We called the school. They were closing. So we went and picked up the children. And then we had different rounds of bombing. Early this morning, for morning prayers, about the time for morning Fajr prayers, it was announced that the leader of the country was assassinated by Americans and Israelis. And then before sunrise, you had millions of people coming to the streets, demonstrating against United States and Israel. Some of these people may not like some of the government policies, but they don't like the country's leader to be killed in this manner. Yesterday, we had over 140 little girls, school girls, in a city, Minab, southern part of Iran. It's actually closer to Pakistani border than Tehran. They were killed by the Israelis and Americans bombing the school. I don't think this was an accident. In the Israeli doctrine, they have this Zahia doctrine, which means that you inflict heavy civilian casualty to get the policy that you want out of the target that you want. We are dealing with the Epstein class. They like to rape American girls and they like to bomb Iranian girls. This is the type of people we are dealing with. Based on Iran's constitution, Article 111, if the country's leader is not able to continue his functions, then you have the president, the country's president, plus the head of the judiciary, plus a member of the Guardian Council, forming this temporary leadership council until a new leader is elected. The new leader is elected by the Assembly of Experts. Members of this assembly are elected by the people. And their function is to do this, to elect the country's leader. And so you're going to have a new leader elected in just a few days. And the president and the two other members will continue running the country until the new leadership is identified. The new leader and Iran's military realize that if attacking Iran is cost-free to Israelis and Americans, if killing Iran's leader is cost-free, then they would attack Iran every few months. The last time the attack was in June. This time they waited for 8 months. If they can get away with this type of murders, they may attack in 8 weeks. We don't know. So they want to make sure that the Americans pay enough price so this is not repeated. And that means killing American soldiers, unfortunately. These are young people with young families. Iran did not want to fight the United States. I don't know if you saw the interview of the Omani foreign minister with the American television, CBS. He was basically begging Trump to give peace a chance. He was saying that an agreement was available in 24 hours. And Trump attacked Iran less than 24 hours after that interview. And this Omani foreign minister was saying that Iran is giving concessions that Iran was not willing to do in the 2015 agreement. So an agreement was available, but the United States was not interested in an agreement. They want to change Iran's government. They want to balkanize Iran, basically. They want to separate the oil-rich areas. They want to control Iran's oil. This is what they did in 1953 with the coup. The only problem they have is that this is 2026. You cannot get away with this type of going and grabbing other people's oil in this manner. At least you cannot do it with Iran. So this has unified Iranian people. There is this rally around the flag effect. Last time we saw this rally around the flag effect. This time we have an attack plus the killing of the country's leader. So this is going to unify the Iranians against this foreign aggression. And you remember what Pakistanis felt when India attacked Pakistan a few months ago. We have a similar thing plus a lot more, because of the type of attacks that Iran has been experiencing. They're going to fail. Of course not. If the idea was to change Iran's government, what they have done in the manner they have done it actually strengthens Iran's government. This is going to be the result, because even people who, as I said, did not like the policies of the government, they don't want their daughters to be killed when they go to a school. They don't want their country to be disintegrated. They know who Trump is, who Netanyahu is. The average IQ in Iran is no less than the average IQ internationally. They know these war criminals are not interested in human rights. They don't want to be foot soldiers for people like Trump and Netanyahu. And it's a foolish thing they did. They're going to pay a heavy price. It's very unfortunate, but this is what they wanted. And they wanted war. They're going to get war. They started the war against Iran. They're not going to be able to finish. Iranians will finish that war. The damage has been extensive. Last time Trump said that he totally destroyed Iran's nuclear program, and he said it would take many years for Iran to be able to rebuild it. And now he's claiming that Iran has rebuilt the nuclear program, which just 8 months ago. It's not years, and Iran has not done that. But they have no limitations in hitting civilian targets, infrastructure, other targets. The damage has been extensive, and Iran will defend. The Iranian patience is going to be much bigger than the patience that Trump can have. So sooner or later, he will realize that he has made a huge mistake. But this was the hard way of reaching that conclusion. Iran is not targeting these states. Iran is targeting American bases, and these American bases happen to be in these countries. This is what Iranian leaders have been saying, that the bases, but basically these are American soil because we got American soldiers there. So why do we need to hit American bases? Because if we don't, if attacking Iran is cost-free, then this will be repeated. The Iranian foreign minister has been in touch with the foreign ministers of these countries. They realize that Iran is fighting for its existence, and they would issue statements of condemnation, but they realize, hosting these American bases is not really a good idea. The United States is a terrorist state. Establishing relations with Israel is not a good idea. Some of the places that Iran has hit belong to the Israelis. For example, in UAE, we had Israelis present in different places. They have been target of Iran, and Iran managed to hit the CIA headquarters in Dubai. So these are legitimate targets, and Iran will continue to hit these places. That doesn't mean they don't want to have good relations. They want to have good relations, but unfortunately, these are the people who are available to be killed by Iran. When you are resisting the enemies of Islam, these are very Islamophobic leaders. The Epstein class, they happen to be also very Islamophobic. When you are resisting these people and you are killed in resisting these people, then generally religious scholars name that person a martyr. Of course, Imam Ali in Islamic theology, has this very high standing, and individuals, even the leader of Iran, would not dare to compare themselves with him. That's a true description. People are rising and asking for a regime change, but regime change in Washington and Tel Aviv. They want to make sure that these people are not successful. We had the riots in January. I think I talked to you during those times. The people who want to have regime change are the Pahlavi people, and their numbers are, I don't want to say less than 1% because it would be too much. They're a tiny, tiny minority. They get a lot of Western media help, but in practice, everybody in Iran remembers who Pahlavi was, who his father was. who his grandfather was. These people are fascists. They killed over 2,400 police and civilians because obviously they wanted to kill police, but the civilians were shopkeepers that refused to close shop because Pahlavi had asked for general strike. And Pahlavi visited Israel 2 times in the middle of genocide. He's working with the Israelis. It would be foolish for the Israelis to think that he will be accepted by the Iranian people. What they have done is they actually have extended the life of the Islamic Republic for many years to come in the manner that they have attacked Iran in the last few days. When you start attacking leaders of Muslim countries, Ayatollah Khamenei was very popular not only in Iran but in this region. I've seen reports that in Pakistan, people are demonstrating outside U.S. embassies and consulates justly. If the Israelis and Americans can get away with their designs for Iran, Pakistan would be next. You saw the Moody visit to Israel. I think they coordinated with each other. If they can get away with murdering Iranian leaders, then this would become the new normal. And they would want to repeat that in Pakistan, in Turkey, in other serious Muslim countries. And people realize that. The U.S. government is opposing the prime ministership of the person who won had the majority. The parties had the majority in the last Iraqi election, Nouri al-Maliki. Trump openly says that he doesn't like him to be the prime minister. Why would the United States government want to decide who the prime? Would they, if they can get away with this type of things, next time they would want to appoint the prime minister of Pakistan. So this is the situation people have. People have a lot of grievances against the United States in this part of the world, and they may hit back, and justly so, because people get tired of getting pushed around. We had in the U.S. congressmen asking Trump to take a vote. They wanted to take a vote. They call it the War Powers Act. It's the U.S. Congress that's supposed to declare war. And there were a lot of pressure that Trump shouldn't be attacking Iran unless that vote is taken. So that was putting pressure on Trump to attack Iran sooner, before these calls for a vote in the U.S. Congress got louder. We had the Omani foreign minister, as we said, saying that we can have an agreement in 24 hours. They did not want to have a diplomatic solution, because if you want to change a government, you don't want to have an agreement with that government. And this is why they attacked Iran in the manner they did. Things are normal as much as you can have normal. The millions of people who came to the streets could hear, in some cities, could hear bombs falling off. This is a culture of resistance that people in Iran have. They go to the streets while they're hearing bombing. But electricity is fine. There are no. We are using the internet as we speak, so there are no shortages. But there is a lot of anger that is going to unify the country against this aggression. Iran will defend as long as Americans and Israelis attack, and maybe a few days more, because they want to make sure that enough pain is created for these genocidal regimes, so they don't repeat this. So when would it end? One portion of that equation belongs to the other side, whenever they want to end it, and the other equation, the other part would belong to Iran. And the Americans started this; the Iranians will finish it.